What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the T1P podcast. Thank you for joining me and my wonderful guests. This time around, we have Mr. Bo Ryan. Bo Ryan is the principal of the Anna Grace Middle School in Bloomfield, Connecticut. It is a CREC school. We'll talk about CREC as well. He is an award-winning author. I have this book right here, too, The Brilliance in the Building. I want to get into some stuff in this book, but he's also written other books as well. Welcome, Mr. Ryan. How are you doing?
Thanks, Mr. Tyrone, for having me, baby. I'm fired up to be here. Thank you so much. First, you had Keisha Ryan, my incredible wife. Now you have me. I'll take second unit. Like, I'll come off the bench if she's not available. And
It's
let's
all
do
good.
it.
We love Keisha too. Love her post for her school at Freddie Wish School in Hartford, Connecticut. That
Yes.
was on another platform, though. That was another platform. I ain't have her on here, so I invited you on this platform. Let's just
All
keep it
right.
real. All right.
Yes,
So
sir.
let's get right into it. I want to start with just basically, where were you born? Right. What city did you come up with? What school system did you go to?
So I was born pretty crazy. I was born in Bridgeport, downtown Bridgeport, Connecticut. My
Mm-hmm.
dad spent most of his years coaching college football as an assistant coach. If you know anything about that, he was not getting paid a lot of money
Right.
to do that. So we lived in downtown Bridgeport. He's coaching at University of Bridgeport. My mom was ready to have me. He couldn't leave practice, so she walked downtown Bridgeport right to the hospital and had me. And then we
Wow.
lived throughout a lot of different places because he coached at a lot of different colleges. So we lived in Bridgeport, Willimantic. We
Yep.
lived in Ansonia. We lived in Milford, and then grade New Haven, and then in grade 5 and up, we grew up in Meriden, in an
Okay.
urban neighborhood, and a lot of folks and a lot of things going on there in Meriden.
Okay. And so you went to school in Meriden?
I went to school in Meriden, Washington Middle, which at that time was a neighborhood school
Yep.
where all of us would walk up and go to. And then I went to Platt High School in Meriden in the game of football, and it saved my life, and it was amazing.
Okay, so I like that. We're gonna get to the high school stuff and the game of football, saving your life, the whole nine. I got a similar save your life story from high school, but where'd you go to elementary and middle, and who was your favorite teacher along the way?
So elementary, I went to a school called Israel Putnam in Meriden. Uh, what I remember there was back then I used to talk a lot. They made me go in the back and hold encyclopedias. Like that's true story, man.
What?
I'm not that old, and I had to hold encyclopedias. I'm in 5th grade. I got the
Corporal
biggest lats
punishment.
in the in the school because I had to hold encyclopedias. And then I went to Washington Middle School, which was amazing, and it's really reasoning for me writing The Brilliance in the Building because a lot of us would walk to school, and I have an opening pit in The Brilliance in the Building, like 10 of us, and in that I talk about many of us. Well, some of us went into the school, many stayed out in the portable outside the school. Those kids that went in the portable had no access to the school.
Now
And
wait a
all
minute. The portable were those like students with disabilities?
No, they weren't. They didn't have disabilities. They were neighborhood kids that were smart. They played, but they were in the portable, which was outside the school. So
Okay,
maybe they recorded, but none of those kids went on to high school. None of them graduated high school. None
okay.
of them went on, and many of them ended up in prison. And many of them were all kids in my neighborhood that we walked together. And that you don't realize that in middle school until as I got older and we started talking about access for kids and
Yeah.
ensuring that kids have access to a guaranteed curriculum and that type of stuff. And but then I started thinking, wow, man, we had this growing up where those kids didn't even have access to the school building, and they were all smart kids, talented athletes, and that type of stuff.
Yeah. Who was your favorite teacher during that era of your life?
Uh, I didn't have one, but during middle school, we really struggled.
Mm.
I was struggling in the neighborhood, and I was struggling in school. In the neighborhood, I was getting in some serious trouble. So my mother, who passed 2 years ago,
Sorry
she
to hear that.
created a Scared Straight program, her own, because she was a neighborhood nurse, so she knew all the police. Created this program for me because all the kids I was hanging out with, we were doing things that you shouldn't be doing in the neighborhood. And then there was the school aspect of how can I help him in school because I was failing everything. She
Yeah.
said, so she switched her work hours. Now, she was an emergency room nurse working during the day is a lot different in Meriden and New Britain and Hartford working at
Hmm.
night. So she went overnight and then she would come to the school and check on me and make sure that I was doing the right thing. And she worked with my principal, who's my favorite educator, Dr. Michael Ferry, and he liked the kids from the neighborhood. He was one of the few
No.
guys that really hung out with us. He like checked on all the folks and people. Now we still communicate. When my mom died, he reached out to me and checked on that and talked about how crazy my mom was. So my mom wouldn't even, she'd go in the building. And I remember she used to tell me back in those days, I used to wear like 12 chains. She said, if I catch you wearing any of them chains, I'm going to get you. So she'd come to school. I'm trying to hide the chains. And she just start walking and she wouldn't even go. I said, Mom, you got to sign in. She chased me down the hall and, and it helped. It
Yeah.
helped.
So your
And then
mom,
when I
your
went to
mom
high school,
sounds. Hold on, wait. I want to stop at middle school. Your
got me
mom
all fired
sounds
up right now.
amazing. She sounds amazing. You said your principal. This was the principal of the middle school,
Yeah.
and he was your favorite educator of all time.
He was one of my favorite educators that I've ever had.
One of their favorite educators. Now that's what I'm talking about. And you've been a principal for how many years?
21.
21 years. I'm telling you, best job in the world. Talk to me about high school. What was it like in high school? What was your favorite subject? Who was your favorite teacher?
So high school for me was interesting because, as a kid that was failing in those schools, some of the classes I was in that they set you up with, which you don't realize is like I was in some we had C classes were like the honors, B
Yep.
classes were college prep. I was in A classes, man. It was like 5 of us, 2 teams. Like it was fun. You're playing like
Wow.
Uno in class, but you're not going to college in those classes. And it was fun.
Woo, education. Hey, Bo, give me a year. Give me a range of years. We talking about the 90s?
I was in high school when I graduated, 89.
Okay, 89.
So part of that was though I loved the sport of football.
Yep.
And I knew that you can't do as much as you want to do if you're fooling around and joking and missing, you can't play.
No, you
So
can't play.
football, I had to play. We ended up one year going 11-0. And those people, there's some great leaders on that team that worked a lot for me. I was a quarterback, and so I learned a lot there. And then this is crazy. My senior year, I almost got expelled near the end, and I was getting in some trouble because football was
Oh,
done. And my dad said, my dad was actually my coach, and he's a longtime legend in Meriden, who probably one of my favorite educators. He brought hundreds and hundreds of kids to college,
yeah.
especially black and Spanish kids who never had an opportunity, and he drove them for free all over New England and got all these kids in college, which was amazing. So then it was my turn. And he said, "Listen, you got 2 options. You can go to the Army, or you can go to Cushing Academy Prep School in Ashburnham." He said, "I know the guy. I coach him. He knows everyone." And he said, "They can't get you in, but they're going to get you in." And somehow they said, "But you got to leave now." And it was May. And I said, so I didn't graduate with my high school. I left and stayed in in work maintenance until it was the school year.
Wait a minute. Asperden, where's that?
I have no idea. I still don't know where it's at. Somewhere in Massachusetts. But like a kid from Maryland, that was great because there was you can't get in trouble out. There was nothing to do. It was just you're gonna
Okay. So you must have been an extreme knucklehead coming up in the 80s over in Meriden, rocking chains, getting in trouble, almost got expelled, right? Switched up. Father got you into a school in Massachusetts, right? Where along the line did you decide that you wanted to be a teacher?
So let me tell you this. So then when I'm there, I start walking down, a true story. I start walking down the street and all I'm seeing is school. And I was there all summer, but now you got
Yep.
all the folks there. I started tearing up and started thinking, well, what about Daryl Brantley? What about Chris Castor across the street? What about Lamont
All the
Hicks?
other kids,
What
yeah.
about these guys? Like they
In the
had no
neighborhood.
opportunities, and I knew it that I had to take advantage of it. So when I was there, they created a school system where they refused to see you fail. I was like one of my last, near the bottom of in high school. I
Mhm.
finished number 1 in my prep school class and won the most friendliest student. And those were 2 big prep school awards that they give out every single year. I knew that, man, it's not just for me, but it's for people who got me here. My dad getting me here, Coach Sanborn, who got me here, Coach Burke, who was the pre-cal teacher, who I went to him. I said, man, I can't take pre-cal. And he said,
Okay.
well, you get an A. He said, but you got to do great in class and then see me, because they had study hall built into the day, and they
Yeah.
taught you how to fight for grade, taught everything, and they refused to see kids fail, and that's what ended up changing my life. And I said, if I get the opportunity, I got to give back, because I don't know how I was able to get this opportunity when other kids, all these kids I know, didn't have that opportunity.
Well,
That's
you
something
talked
that,
about you talked about your pops though, right? Then your dad
yeah,
like help you get that?
yeah, my dad, he did an amazing job. He's a if he wasn't a college coach, because he knows everyone, and he
Yeah.
became a high school coach. He coached this guy. So sometimes like people get set up, and
Yeah.
it's the years of relationship building my dad did to get and know these folks, and then put me in a situation to kind of excel. I would not have made it in the army, and then if I would have took like a year off, I don't know if I would have made it.
Right.
But when I went up there, I learned the value of, and I also learned how to compete in the classroom. Like it's not just just you can do a no, you just like you're competing out there. When I went there and I played football as a starting quarterback, broke my pubis bone, so I
Mhm.
put me out of 2 years. But I learned so much there, and try to create schools now that we're trying to help all kids achieve at high levels, like at Cushing Academy.
Okay, so from there, you had to go if you was going to be a teacher, right? You had to go to some type of university.
Yeah, so for me it was just playing college football, to be honest with
Okay.
you. So I went to Southern, then I went to Western, and I was just really just majoring in health. And it was just like so I could play college football, which
Yeah.
was the greatest thing. It was amazing. And then I kept getting all these injuries. Um, and then ended up graduating. Then this was something else that changed my life.
Is this from Westcon?
I went to Southern 2 years,
Yep.
WestCon 2 years, playing college football. Then ended up having a bunch of. I've had my 10th knee surgery a couple years ago,
Mm.
and it's a lot. And then when I graduated WestCon, I had a degree in health community. All that is college football. That's not really. There's not a lot of jobs. So then I got one of my dad's coaches that he coached with was the head coach at Syracuse University. We went
Okay.
up there. I interviewed, and he said, "This is what you need to do." And then I ended up being a graduate assistant coach there
Okay.
for 3 years. It was the most Tyrone, I can't tell you, the experience there is beyond football. It is
Yeah.
beyond you're learning how teams interact. You're learning
Yeah.
about recruiting. You're learning about Ed Ogeron, who's the national championship coach, was one of my mentors. Paul Pasqualoni, who's the head coach, was a elementary teacher in Cheshire, and everything was the team concept, which is the basis of my book, Brilliance in the Building and Professional Learning Communities. But the learning there, the other amazing thing was uh, the desire to get better was amazing. Like one year we were 11-2 or 10-2.
Yep.
Next thing you know, Virginia's up and they're learning from Virginia. I'm like, this is unbelievable. Like 10-2 is not good enough. We got to keep learning and getting better, and that's what I have taken from that: the ability to work with teams, the ability to and the desire to be professional. But if you don't have to meet, you don't meet, and then the desire to get better.
So I can pick that up, the coaching aspect of it and learning from that from a quality Division 1 program in this book when we talk about the brilliance in the building, but I still can't figure out why you wanted to become a teacher.
Yeah. So then after that, when I graduated there, you only could stay 3 years as a graduate assistant. So
Hmm.
once you get your third year, you got to move on. They were going to look, and I started interviewing, and some of the jobs, Tyrone, it was like $6,000 a year, 4,000. Like it was not like, and it's not the money. So I
Yeah.
said, all right, listen, but I couldn't live on, like, you can't live, like you would have to live with like 10 people and some of those early in jobs. So I said, I went home. I coached at my old high school. Um, and I went back to get. I think I had to go 6 more to get the health degree, but I was able to get my master's degree in PE at
Yep.
Syracuse, which was great because some people don't graduate assistants; they just there to coach. I was there; I had to get that degree, which was important, and then I was able to go. And I just wanted to give back, and I wanted to
Okay.
give back, and all the people. The other thing I did was I coached the scout team. So say if Tyrone, if you're the starting defense, I would have to get freshmen ready to
Oh yeah,
practice against
I
them.
coach football. I coach
Yeah,
football. I know what that's like for
yeah.
sure.
So the scout team, and to me, there was a lot of teaching, and it was
Yeah.
unbelievable, and I loved the motivating. And then it's crazy. People, we had a scout team cookie player of the week. I'd buy them chocolate chip, and they loved it. And everyone loved just positive energy and
Yeah.
enthusiasm, and that's a reason why I wanted to go on to be a teacher and really just to give back and
Okay. To
give
get back.
back. And my mission is never. It's never at the district I'm at. My mission is always trying to give back and help others.
Okay. So where'd you start your teaching career?
I started my teaching career subbing in Meriden. Full
Yep.
time, my first full time job was at the greatest school in the history of the world, John C. Clark Elementary,
At
Clark
Hartford.
Street, Hartford.
Yeah.
So that
Which is
was,
no longer there, by the
which
way.
is
It's
no longer
no
there.
longer
But I got a call, and this was the case. Said, you want to be at probably the toughest school in New England? Do you want to? I said, heck yeah. So I go there in August. I just start working in the neighborhood. I went down to Nelton Court,
there. Yep.
watched basketball games. People have tried. I started meeting all these folks, and then I loved it there. Two things I did I'm proud of. Let me just hit these out. One thing is the kids would wait. I was a PE teacher. Kids would all be outside before school. School opened at 8. So what I
Yep.
started doing was opening the gym at 7 every morning. For the 8 years I was there, we would have almost 100 kids in that gym every single morning. Then I'd walk them all down to the cafeteria. The other thing we did was we had some kids with some real challenges, and I created a basketball team. Now, they had a basketball league in Hartford. Now, what
Right.
I didn't know, Tyrone, was I thought it was going to be a fun, games, and we would just kind of teach the kids on the court. This was worse than Big East football at Syracuse.
It's a lot
People
of
were showing,
pressure. It's a lot of
oh
pressure.
my gosh,
Neighborhood
elementary
basketball.
basketball in Hartford is a whole
Yeah.
different level. Oh my! So we the first game we lose our first 9 games. Then I figured out, okay, you know what? We really
First
got it.
nine
And then
games.
the next 5 or 6 years,
Yep.
we became one of the top teams in Hartford. But also, most importantly, no suspensions, kids coming to school, and
Yeah.
kids feeling good on ourselves. And many of them went on to play in high school. So, but having that opportunity, I didn't get paid for that. It was all
Right.
part of
No.
the mission of
No.
me helping and giving back. And
Yeah.
and the other
Definitely.
thing is, when we had games at Clark Street, I was also security. There was no security. Nobody was in the building but me. We had one kid, one of my former students, come to the door, had a pit bull, and he's Mr. Ryan. I said, Marcus, you can't be here now. And we got a technical foul.
A technical foul for having a pit bull.
I tell you, you remember those days? It's the
Yeah.
greatest, man. You see some beautiful stuff.
No, I used to coach for Sands. When I was teaching at Sands, I used to coach Sands basketball. And that's, I mean, we're only talking K5 at that time, right? I mean K6. So it was
Yeah,
the fifth and sixth grade kids, and you would have thought it was the NBA, man. It was a lot of fun though. A whole lot of
you are
fun.
not lying. It was the intensity, and then they call me. We're playing in the championship, right? They call me and they say, "Hey, we heard one of your players is an 8th grader." I said, "Come on, man." I said, "Please don't call me and
Hmm.
accuse me of this silliness." I said, "Come on." But what I did was,
The birth
uh,
certificate.
I was a defensive coach at Syracuse. We just had a defensive scheme. We just trapped everything, and we had schemes like that. And
Yeah,
then when we got steals, we worked on. We had girls play, so we had uh, and they were our best defenders. Like they were,
yeah, yeah.
we had some kids, and then we just rotated a lot and just got kids up and running, and it was fun.
So at some point you were nominated or you were named Teacher of the Year in Hartford, right?
Yeah, it was the greatest award ever. You want to know why?
So wait a minute, but what were you teaching? What grade level?
Uh, K through 6 at Clark Street.
Yep. So when you got Teacher of the Year, you were what, fifth grade
No,
teacher?
I was teaching PE, all them grades.
Oh, that's right, PE. I'm sorry. I don't
Yeah, I was teaching all them
PE.
grades.
Yeah. So you got PE teacher. Go ahead. Why was it the greatest?
It's the greatest ever
Had to
because
be the
now
greatest.
they asked me to go speak, right? So I'm at Moylan and I got to speak to all these new teachers and I'm talking to all of them and I look out in the crowd and there's an Irish term called smitten. I looked and
And
saw
you
this
saw,
lady
oh my God, I
and
know you.
I am like, oh my gosh. And then she goes into cafeteria after. So then I go to the people there. I go, they must want to talk to me in there, right? I'll go, no, you're good. You can go home. So I had
Yep.
to sneak into the caf, find out her name. She was working at Annie Fisher. Somebody
Hmm.
called me. That was 24 years ago. And yeah, now we're two married principals raising a grandson, got 3 kids. And yeah,
I love it. I love it. Love smitten.
smitten. I was smitten. I
Smitten.
looked out there. So here's something funny. So my 20th anniversary last year, I
Yep.
went back there and I went back on the stage. They got me in. And I went back and kind of did the
Did
whole
I
thing
see
and
that?
sent it to them.
I think one of y'all posted something about that. I'm not sure.
That
Oh my
probably was
goodness.
the missus. Yeah,
Listen,
but
I've
yeah,
seen you two do.
I went back. It was a
And
great time.
we were talking about Principal Keisha Ryan of which museum school in Harvard, and these two are married, and they're two married principals. So this is like a very special thing. But I just remember the acts of love that you guys would share for each other on special occasions, and that would post, right? So that just leaving stuff on each other's car, leaving stuff in the office, different things like that. What's it like being married to another principal?
Uh, I it's pretty amazing because I think I'm married to an exemplary principal, like
Mm.
someone that really has the value for kids, someone that's been through some things that those kids have been through,
Yeah,
and some amazing stuff. She grew up right in the city of Hartford, uh, right down there near Clark Street School. She's been through a lot, uh, but relentlessly positive and
for
relentlessly
sure.
there for kids. And if Freddie wishes, probably in one of the you were there, probably in the one, probably the
Yeah,
most challenging. It's up there with anywhere neighborhood you look at in New England that's challenging.
yeah. I
And
mean,
you walk in that school, you would never know the energy, the positivity, the kids, all that stuff. You never would know. The first
yeah.
thing she had to do at that school was she created a fence and made sure there was a fence
Oh,
around
they
because
made a fence. So I'm gonna
they
tell you
made a
something.
fence.
I used to be principal in that location of Milner School, and I know there's a walkthrough from Garden Street on over. And I would be like, "Yo, we got to do something about this." Garden to Mather Street. I'm sorry, Vine Street to Mather Street is just opening pathway, and I always wanted a fence when it was Milner School, and they never gave me a fence. So kudos to her for getting that fence to keep everybody, safe in the neighborhood.
Which is amazing because uh, schools could be like Clark Street. We were near the projects. Milner
Yeah.
School is in, and it's like right
Yeah,
around it.
it's right. It's in everything. It's not necessarily a project, but it's one of the worst neighborhoods in the city. So
Whatever, but
yeah.
there's people that would come out, and yeah. So kudos to y'all, you and her, and everyone else that's doing a great job there. But
So I want
I loved the Clark Street neighborhood when I was there, and
yeah.
that was it was awesome.
So I want to move to your position now as principal at the Anna Grace Middle School, and it wasn't always named that. But what is it like being a principal in today's day and age right now? What is that like every day?
Right now, it's probably one of the more challenging positions out there. To me, it's one of the greatest. I love it.
Yep.
One of the
But
most challenging is it's a different principal deal than when I started. So
hmm
14 years ago, for a lot of different reasons. 14 years ago, we were in the Colt building, which is downtown Hartford. There was a school above us, a school below us. We didn't have a gym. There was a lot of stuff in there and you couldn't sell people to go to your school by looking at the
yeah,
Colt building. So
right.
you weren't going to recruit a bunch of. There was a fence outside. The lights didn't work on Van Dyke. Um, but we had some amazing staff members that cared deeply. We still have, we call them OGs, original
hmm
greatness, of people that have been there since day one. I think we still have like 14 that have been there. So now we go out there and you could sell people with the building. The
Yeah.
challenge is right now, though, is we have there's no candidates when you lose a staff member for
Okay.
middle school and with city kids because
Yes.
they rather go to the suburbs and they rather go to high school or
So
elementary.
you're talking about your like your academic core classes like English,
Yes,
science. It's hard
yes,
out there, right?
it is very hard. So if you lose someone, the other thing which we're now we had people that were around the Harvard area. Now you're talking they got to go another 25 minutes, right? So we lost some folks,
Yeah.
and when we look for people, uh, you have to be diligent in going after bodies, but we had like math openings. There was one person, and then you like say, do we want a long-term sub? And you're trying to
Right.
figure it out. So that has been a real challenge. And then
So
when you
let's be
have them
real
right
about
now,
that. Well, let's be real about that for a second. What type of person, what type of teacher do you need to be, or what are you looking for in a middle school teacher?
so one of the things I wrote in the book, The Brilliance in the Building, the first chapter, I did a lot of research on.
Hmm.
And it's called Culture of Care, where you got to have people that care about the students, and you're going to treat the students the right way. And there was research on the school's UCLA Ease project, where these kids went to college more in environments like that,
Okay.
where adults cared about kids, adults cared about enough about taking action to impact kids, um, and the adults cared about other adults, which brings us into collaboration. So creating that culture of care. Some people try to act like you have to. Some people are in urban neighborhoods to bully some kids and get on them, and like I understand that, uh, but that's not happening in our school. Like
Got it.
you can still control a large room if you have to speak by just. But no, it all starts with care and it all starts with love. And one of the things we do every summer is we go visit the homes. So me and my engagement specialist Quay Baskerville, one of my
Okay.
favorite people, we've done I think in 14 years, 2000 over 2,000 home visits in the
And that's
communities,
you. That's you
visiting
as the
families.
principal visiting
Yeah,
homes. Yeah.
me and her going out there visiting families and trying to bring that culture of care. So I think that is one of the things we look for in a teacher. Then we look at a couple things. One, uh, actions that you've done to impact student lives. Like you say, I've done this. No, what actions and evidence do you have that you impacted students? And then the third one I think is huge. Well, four of them. The third one is what kind of teammate are you? Because you're going to collaborate a lot. Are
Yeah.
you responsible for working with other people? And then the last
Hmm.
one, how much do you want to learn? Because to me, trying to uh, I write these books because I'm trying to learn as much as I can, and
Yeah.
then I put it down on paper, and you research and you read. So I think learning is a huge part of what we expect people to do.
So what do you say to the middle school teacher that comes in and says, "Listen, man, I'm a math teacher. I just want to teach math. I don't want to do no SEL. I don't want to do no advisory. I don't want to get along with a partner on a team. I just want to teach math. I know math really well. I know how to teach it. Get these kids out of my class that's not ready to learn and let me teach math." How do you deal with those type of individuals?
Yeah, that person couldn't work here. That person would not, because the math team, when we created the school, when I interviewed, I remember I was at a great school in Cromwell. I loved it
Mhm.
there because um, Woodside Intermediate. Shout out to Dr. Talty who gave me my first job. Like I
Yeah,
came
she's
from
at
Harvard, I went
CCSU
down
now.
there.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's amazing that I was able to. I beat out 60 people trying to get the job. Um, and one of the things we we uh, we did is we wanted to make sure that we functioned as a professional learning community. That we
Mhm.
wanted to make sure that teachers collaborated. So when they call me, I wanted to have two ELA, two math, social studies, and science. So ELA and math are the two biggest. They have to have a partner. So we were
Right.
able to come in with 6 teachers with now lessened your class size because we were only allowed 110 kids per grade. So a big part of what we did at Woodside too, we were Solution Tree National Model Professional Learning Community. So we're going to bring that to the school. So if you're not going to do what our school stands for, you're going to either get coached or I may have to meet with the teams and we may have to, do some of that stuff. And
Yeah.
you have to constantly check on that though. Even people
Yeah.
that are doing it, you got to constantly monitor them and watch them and coach them and make sure they stay with what they're going to do. But you
How do
have to
you
collaborate.
how do you take care of your teachers to make sure they show up every day for you in your building, right? Do you do anything special with climate and culture on your end as the administrator?
So we do a lot. One, I think creating a school that's a professional learning community where you have they have the union allotted 40-minute prep, then we
Yep.
have team 30 every day, which is we never touch the prep. So team 30 every day is when you do the work that we're asking you to do. You have time beyond the day, they can choose that. We make sure you have the resources and tools to commit to the
Yeah,
work.
that you need. Yep.
um, you have to turn that stuff in. We make sure the money is spent on instruction, and if you need
Hmm.
stuff, we'll get it for you. We also celebrate our teachers a lot, so we have a lot of chains with the big medallions, and then what we do is we recognize different staff, and then those staff recognize different
Other
staff,
people, for
other
sure.
people. And then
Yep.
we have teacher leaders that really can make a lot of changes to their grade level and change schedules and do that type of stuff. And they have the ability to lead. We call it in PLC terms is the guided coalition, but it's a leadership team, and they have
Wow.
a lot of value in what they can do if because they've all earned that they're here for the best interest of kids.
Got
So
you.
those are all things that they can do, and we celebrate them a lot. We have water that's for them if they need it, but there's also a time where people are. I went over the summer and talked about like people's first jobs, where people just went to work, man, because it was, you signed up to work there, and
Yeah.
you have to go in and try to do the best job you can. Our job, though, there's a sense of urgency because if kids can't read and you can't get kids to grade level, their life is going to be really hard. So we have to also look at that.
Yeah.
Because the
So
other
I,
piece is, yeah, the other piece, Tyrone, is some people just they can be really just nice to folks, and that's how the whole thing. If you're making change, sometimes people may not like you. They may
yeah.
not say, you know what, I don't want to teach this college prep block, which is an extra 30 minutes. I don't like that kid in my first block. Now I got to give him extra help in another block. And I've gone through that, but no, that's in the best interest of kids. So some people may not like the principal, but hopefully can trust that that principal has a history of doing things the right way, and you believe that that person, after they give you the rationale of why they're doing it, that you believe that this is why they're doing it.
Right. That is it's for a good reason for sure. So I want
Yes.
to jump into your book, right? So this is the book.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the only book you've written, but this
No.
is probably your um most successful book. What award did you get for this book?
So the Brilliance in the Building won the International Impact Award.
International Impact Award.
International Impact, and I was named one of the authors, a finalist for Author of the Year.
Okay.
But this book that just came out it's still in the Amazon. It's been out a month. It's still in the Amazon top 20, which is pretty
Nice.
good. And
Flash
it's
the
kind
book
of
again.
like
Put
a
the
playbook.
book put the book back. Bring the book back on the screen. What's the second book? Okay. Teachers Leading Learning. Amazon top sellers list.
Yes, it's
Okay.
doing great.
All right. I just want to make sure I plug that for you. That's all. I got some questions about this Brilliance in the Building book. Why
Yep.
do you believe in PLC so much?
Uh, because a couple things. One, the Brilliance in the Building meant of professional learning, but it also meant um, there's some of the most amazing teachers in some of these schools that are in urban schools that you will never know. So I work for Solution
Yeah.
Tree in Marzano. I'm one of the
Yep.
few, not to brag, but I'm one of the few in the country to have both certifications. So I
Okay.
went to this school in Kentucky. It was an all boys school. The school was failing. I went in this class and I'm like, and they asked me at the end, what advice do you have after seeing all these? I said, y'all have to do instructional rounds in that lady's class
Because
and
she
get
got it
everyone
going
to
on.
go in there.
Yep.
It's the
Yep.
greatest instruction I've ever seen. When I was at Clark Street School, uh, we had a lady, Miss Bernard. We had some of the greatest instructional teachers I've
All
ever
right.
seen. And sometimes they may say, "Well, you're this type of school, level 3 level." There's
Yeah, no, but
nobody
you
that can
got some
teach what
stuff.
those people were
I'm
doing
telling you, you
in the
hit it
class.
right on the head. I swear. So when I did Milner, I had, we were low performing, we were this and that, but I had some of the best teachers ever. When I went and was a math coach, I went to the magnet schools. I saw what some of the stuff that was going on. Man, when I started Baton System, I took my core teachers from Milner School, went over, started Baton, the failing school, where, we were all sucked as teachers and kids were failing whatnot. First year out, my man Mario Marrero, young Hispanic teacher, got Teacher of the Year for Harvard the same way you did, right? Because
Yeah.
those, and my superintendent right now in New Britain calls them islands of excellence. When you have those teachers and you know what they got going on, that's what you do. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Keep going.
No, so I love what you're saying. I love the energy. The brilliance in the building came from that. And it
Okay.
really was creating and using the people you had. And I wanted to create something
Yes.
for urban schools so it has a lot of tools because we do that. Like a
Yep.
lot of tools. And really, it's my fourth book on the data team process but it starts with the planning. So if you and I are ELA, we study the curriculum, we look at the standards, we plan out a month, and then we learn how to create common assessments to measure, and then we create data team action and have great instruction.
So,
All that
so
stuff can be taken in the classroom, and all the tools and brilliance in the building You don't have to go anywhere else. You can
But wait
use
a
this
minute,
stuff.
where's my CD or my online resources? Do I get online resources with this or a CD? Because you got a lot of templates in the back, and we don't do paper copy templates anymore. We should be getting these online, right?
You can get them online. Go right on Solution Tree.
Okay, on Solution Tree,
They're
everything
all
is there.
online. You talking about CDs? Like, what do you got? Boys to Men
Oh,
CD?
I
Like
know.
what?
I said, see. You're right.
You got
I'm
Run
aged
DMC
out. I said
CD?
there's gonna be a CD in here. Where you gonna put it at? Hilarious. So yes, online we can get it at Solutions Tree.
Yeah, and that was the big thing I talk about
This
is
is dope.
first one's culture of care. Chapter 2 is creating a culture of collaboration. And a
Yeah.
lot of people say like we have prep time together. That's not collaboration. Then
No,
we
it's
get
not. It's
into
just time. Yep.
culture of learning. The next one we get into is culture of high quality instruction, and then the last one is culture of continuous learning.
Yeah. And so why do you feel and we are alike in the always wanting to learn, man. How can you be in education and you think you know it all? Right? Especially when things change and keep going. You talk about in this book the power of book studies,
Yep.
right? What's tell me more about that.
So one of the things I think is now there's so many resources out. Like when I started, you would have to go to like Barnes and Nobles and try to find something. Now, if you want to like improve in fluency, you can write fluency books on fluency, and you could get all these different. If you want to improve
Yeah.
on creating assessments, you could just plug assessments and get all these resources to help you find that. So it's the book study, but it's the ability to kind of use that and move on. The big thing that I try to get in here is creating the high quality instruction
Mm-hmm.
align to priority standards. But what happens if kids don't learn? And then your school may be different. Like some people say, I'm also a national RTI master coach. People may say, like, well, RTI
Wait,
is
wait,
what? No, RTI is what's best for your school to give kids
you
more
still
time and support.
you still using
So
RTI or we using MTSS?
we use RTI, which
Okay.
is basically the same stuff.
Right, right,
Um,
right.
I I've been trained through the Solution Tree guys, but what I in the book is reflect on what you have. And when I interviewed for the position at Solution Tree, I remember meeting with the guy Mike Matos, is one of the best in the world on RTI, and he says, "Man, your school, y'all are figuring out a way to have more time and support that's different than, and that's what it's about. And it's just finding ways and being creative and finding ways. So I get into that, how you can evaluate that. In the book, we talk about collaboration, all the different ways to collaborate. One is really looking at time. If you don't need to meet, don't meet. But this is what you should do with the time.
Yeah.
Having all these protocols though really takes people, because if you're an urban principal, to get out is tough. You're gonna go to a training and then who's gonna come back and teach other people? So
Right.
that's the other piece of going to the training, coming back, teaching. I tried to put all this here to help and support all the folks that need it, because that can't get out of the building.
All right. Now I want to switch things a little bit and talk about what's happening in the school with your middle school students.
Okay.
What's the toughest thing that you have to deal with from a discipline standpoint right now? Is it vaping or anything like that? Is it skipping class? Is it 6-7? Like what is the stuff that drives you and your staff crazy about middle schoolers?
I have I don't really get. I'm gonna be honest, Tyrone.
Yeah.
I don't really get driven crazy by middle schoolers.
You know
I'm,
what I
I'm
mean though. Yeah.
I'm blessed to. I think there's. I think the hardest thing is just trying to work with parents and get kids to school. And I have a
End
mentor.
it. Okay.
His name is Ken Williams. He wrote this book, Ruthless Equity, and
Hmm.
he says, listen, if parents can get kids to school, then it's our job to work with them in school. We're blessed though at our school. Like we have a principal, we have an assistant principal, we have a
Okay.
dean, and we have two behavior techs. Like
How many kids you got?
we got 330.
Whoa, whoa. See, 330 students, and you got you, an assistant principal, a dean, and two behavior techs.
So we have, yeah, we're
Okay,
blessed.
so you an
We're blessed to
instructional
have
leader.
that.
You an instructional leader. You don't even deal with discipline, do you?
No, no, I do. But most of it's all instructional stuff. And there's
Yeah,
so many other things too, is like the
yeah.
hiring process. It's a lot of different.
No, I got you. But when you have
So
a good support, when you have supports in place to be able to give kids what they need, right? And on that behavior end of it, man, it makes your job that much more easier to stay on top of what you talk about in this book.
Yeah, we tried to. To me, we didn't ask for a dean years ago. We said, listen, if you can send us 3 behavior texts for a dean,
Right.
we'll take the more bodies and that type of stuff. But no, we're blessed to have that. Uh, we really try to connect with parents. The
Yep.
other thing, which is the collaboration. So, like, if you and I are ELA teachers, the level of continuous improvement is going to happen with us doing these. We call them learning blocks. So what it is you and I will plan a certain amount of time. We'll then look at what targets we're going to create. We then create proficiency scales and post them in classrooms. We
Yeah.
then create assessments and then have data teams along the way that are led by teachers. If you're teaching at that type of level, a lot of the major stuff is going to be taken away in the classroom. Kids are locked in, and our teachers are locked in to what's important is academics. One thing though that changed this year, man. I'm an old guy and I love learning. We had a new teacher. She came to me last year, Miss Ryan. We were looking at data as a time as a
Yep.
time as a data source, like how much time we waste. And she said, "There's a new hall pass thing called Securely. You may want
Mm-hmm.
to check it out." So we checked it out. We use that now. It has been a
A
great.
game changer, right?
Yeah, it's a game changer, and it is pretty awesome to do that. That we're getting better, but I really think too, though, hiring people that really care about the academics and really want to give high level tasks and really want to really help, especially if you're a team and you're working together. And I think that helps keep kids in the class. It's caring about them, but also the level of assignments, like the below grade level stuff. We don't do like because kids are never going to get to grade level, but it's also too easy, and the kids start goofing around and
Mm-hmm.
challenge them.
So your
So
number one, what I'm hearing from you, right, is your number one strategy to keep everybody on point in the classroom is high quality instruction, right? And
yes,
great teachers that can deliver that instruction and know how to differentiate and scaffold for students to make sure that they're engaged. Do you try any other like do you have an advisory block or an SEL curriculum that you
we
use?
do. We do. We have an advisory block every Wednesday with a
Yep.
program for that. We have a morning like circle that can go with that.
Okay.
That we want people to connect with kids. But we hired a lot of folks that really care and like middle school kids. One of our most veteran teachers who came with me from Cromwell when I was uh, she loves middle school. Like
Yep.
we have some people that we have an 8th grade ELA teacher just loves middle school. We have a bunch of people that really like middle school kids.
Listen, you have to be a special person to like, especially seventh graders.
Yes.
Seventh graders are a whole, a whole nother animal of a human being. But
Yeah.
they are like it's like you said. I was a middle school principal, so I can talk about it as well. Best job in the world. I love my middle school folks, but you really got to have the right kind of person, and that's what it starts with. Sometimes it's not the program, it's not the structure, it's the people that stand in front of those kids each and every day. And if they have the skill set and the caring, and I like presence too. If they have the presence to be in front of those kids to get the best out of them.
Yeah, that is a huge deal. And the fact that like they are prepared for class. So we make sure
Mm-hmm.
that the stuff we do, one thing we do is we post. So we look at the standard and we look at posting what we call proficiency scale. So it's what does mastery look like? What does approaching look like with the vocab? So
Yep.
starting out every lesson where you're going over that sets the tone for every lesson. So people aren't just going up there and just throwing anything out there. They are prepared for every single lesson and they're prepared for the 67-minute block. That is huge. And they have time beyond the prep. The other thing which we're doing, and we have a dean right now who's doing an amazing job of making sure that we don't have teachers covering for other teachers. So we
Okay.
make sure we get subs. And then even some days we have 20 absences. We're
Yeah.
figuring out a way not to take teachers prep because we want those teachers to be able to be ready for every class they
Yeah.
teach.
So that common teaching, that common prep time with each other for that collaboration, that 30 minutes that you were talking about earlier, doesn't get interrupted. That's
Never
essential
gets
to
so
have.
they get a 70-minute prep. It's
Yep.
40-minute prep and then a 30-minute. We are not ever. I was with a lady uh over the summer. She said she was teaching in Connecticut City and said that they all have like 8 teachers out and kids go to the auditorium and they
Yeah.
have And there's a lot of those things going on. We try not to do that, and we try to make
Yeah.
sure that um, we help. But what we did, Tyrone, one thing is we created a systematic plan for everyone to use for subs, which is a reviewing. One piece is reviewing those proficiency scales, reviewing the vocab from the day before, reviewing a worked example, reviewing what. So instead of just giving out dittos, no, now they're in front teaching, and that's what every sub is doing. And we even reached out to the sub place because this is a new time. There's
Yeah.
there's people being absent and all that stuff, and we have to make sure that whoever is in there is at least giving the kids something. Man, it's tough.
So let me ask you about another instructional resource that is very popular right now is artificial intelligence or AI. How do you leverage that with your staff, students, community? How do you use AI these days?
Also, one way I could tell you is we so we have let me tell you a story. So grade 6, we we have the most kids in grade 6. So I went to them
Yep.
a couple years ago and said, listen, I'd like to help because we don't have intervention teachers. So the teachers, we created a reading program for them to teach because we needed to give everyone 20 more extra minutes of reading during this college prep block. I said,
Okay.
I will take the kids most that need. So I teach reading, I teach intervention reading for our kids every single day. Last year, I taught 150 classes. One of the things I use AI for is we use, say a PDF of News LA article. I'll
Yep.
use that, but then I could put it, we're teaching fluency. I can then put it in AI and say, create this into a newscast, a 1 minute
Yeah. Yeah.
newscast. So
Yep.
the kids can read the article 3 or 4 times, answer some questions, get into discussion. Then they could read the newscast, and then we can have kids read, and we're looking at prosody, and we're looking at their ability to read fluently and
Yep.
smoothly. And so we use it there. We also used it in math. We used where you took all the I take all the vocab, put in there, create a narrative with this and a
Oh,
story,
that's nice.
and you're able to create that. The book Marzano synthesis said there's a effect size of 1.08. If you do that, can make a huge impact on kids. So we use it for stuff like that to
Well, I
really
want to go
create.
back to. I want to go back. So yes, AI, brilliant ways to use it for sure. I want to go back to you teaching.
Yep.
Right. What are you doing teaching classes?
So we have. Um, I've done it before, but then
Hmm.
2 years ago, man, we really are struggling with kids coming in at a level where they're not on grade level for reading. So I
Mm.
created a reading. We have a college prep block. So college prep is 23 minutes, 3 minute block, 23 minutes, where we place every single kid in either more time and support,
Yep.
enrichment, extension. Um, Kids with IEPs get pulled out from there, not from classroom. And
Yep.
some people say they do an intervention, but they're pulling the kid from core classroom. That's not intervention.
Right.
That's kind of silliness.
Not
So
from
we
core
make
class. You
sure
got to have a one period for
you got
everybody.
to
Yeah.
have core and then more.
Right.
So then the AIs,
More and then
because we were
more.
having so many staff absent, I said, you know what, let me teach this. And because I've been studying literacy for a long time. So
I'm
then
just
I
saying,
reached out.
it's not that you can't teach. You won Teacher of the Year, right? It's not that.
Yeah.
It's you. Your role as principal. What are you doing teaching?
So then I go and then I meet. So then I had these kids. Last year I
Yep.
had 13. Listen, I had 13. I had two groups. Uh, some kids with IEPs, some kids.
Hmm.
The average words correct per minute when we started was 80, 88. At the end, it was 140. You cannot comprehend text at 88 words correct per minute. At 140, you can.
Hmm.
Um, so I do that. I don't take lunch. I'd rather be with the kids. I'm not taking a break. I know a lot of people can't because we have a smaller school at 330 kids and we have people that can monitor. I'm able to do that. And I also in RTI, I think one of the big things is who's the best teachers. Like I'm not you're gonna send a sub to work with those kids, they're not gonna do much. And I took the kids most that need. And the other big part of that is the pacing of how we're teaching. We
Yeah.
do repeated reading of the text, we do word work, vocab, and then we get them going and it's a lot of positivity and clapping and motivating for them.
Listen, I would guess to believe that your staff see you as a model, right? Like if you're in there rolling up your sleeves and you're teaching as well as everyone else, then they should be following you through the fire, right? Like they should be behind you 100%. And that's just kudos to you for doing that. That's a
Thank you.
really good thing.
You never know what people think, but I can tell you, it's pretty amazing uh, to our sixth grade team because, like this year, I'm working with them, and the ability to find out how quickly they need to. This kid needs to go with you, and because they'll have a group, they have their groups. So
Hmm.
social studies, science, and ELA. All we got 75 kids in grade 6 who get the core. Then they get extra instruction in 25 minutes of fluency. So they had some kids that I'm taking the lower so I can have a smaller group, and they're figuring out quick. The other challenge we have is a kid comes from like a different school and they think they're going to a different middle school. We may not have files on them. So we got to figure
Okay.
out how to get files on kids. And I went into Burr School last week to try to get these files, and we went into other schools. And you may have to
So
pull
you as
up.
a principal, you the principal showing up looking for records.
We're looking for records because you can you may not be able to find them, and then you call them to email you. They ain't emailing you.
Right.
So
All right, we're getting close to wrapping up, man. This has been a very
no, this is the
energetic and
extended
fun.
remix version,
This is
man. Keep this
good.
going.
But I gotta get to your before we get to how we get in touch with you and all that. We do have to pause for a second and get to our top 5 moment, right? So you were supposed to come up with a list
Yep.
of top 5 schools, I mean top 5 movies or shows about school, and you have to start with number 5 first, right? So you just go my 5th one and explain why, and then go on from there. So what's number 5?
I'm going Finding Forrester.
Okay, Finding
I,
Forrester.
I like that. I like the connection between the main character and the old guy and the connection. I like number 4. I'm going Coach Carter. I like
Coach
Coach
Carter,
Carter.
number 4. Okay, so
Number
5
2.
was slow down a minute. 5 is Finding Forrester.
Yep.
4 is Coach Carter. You're a coach, so you probably
Yep.
got Coach should be on your list. Okay, what's number 3?
3, I really like that. I don't remember it. Talking to you beforehand reminded me how great it was.
Okay.
Boston Public.
Boston Public, that show. That was a great it was high school, right? It was a high school in Boston.
Yeah, the guy with the
And great
bald
show.
head, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
He
yeah.
was the
The
it was
principal.
it was a great show.
2,
2, I'm going School Ties.
School
School
Ties.
Ties was about a guy who went to prep school. He was
Okay.
Jewish, and he became and it was looked down upon to be Jewish um, around there, and he led him to the prep school championship, and they kind of used him to take him to the prep school championship in
Was he a
football.
coach?
He was a player.
He was a player. Okay. What was this, basketball, football?
Football.
Football, school time. Does that sound is that a story about you?
No, School Ties. This guy was better. He had talent. Like this guy was good. But yeah, School Ties. Number
All right.
2,
That was number 2. What's number 1?
New Jack City. We're going New Jack City. Number 1 because Nino Brown. He was a great educator. I mean, he was able to get all this stuff. I'm going number 1. Number 1, I'm going Lean on Me.
Okay, so you're a principal. I've heard this before, right? We've seen this on our show before where people pick Lean on Me, but why are you picking Lean on Me?
I think the acting. And just some of the things that we may see, but at a lesser level. But I thought the acting of the kids were
Yeah,
great. I thought the
yeah.
acting of everyone in there. I thought it was great, and it was just when they took Mr. Clark away, and finally, the people kind of, we don't want a
Rally
good principal.
behind
We
him.
want Mr. Clark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We want Joe Clark back. So okay, that's your top 5. Listen, man, it's been great having you on. Where can we find your stuff at? Like, how do we find Bo
Let me just
Ryan
show
and
you a
stuff?
couple. So we got Brilliance in the Building. You can get on Solution Tree
Okay.
website or Amazon.
Yep.
This book, telling you should get for your teachers. This is a playbook that walks teachers through the 5 phases of cycles. So we talk about 4 cycles. It's all,
Yep.
and you literally just write inside here. So it's a
So
playbook. Solution Tree wouldn't take this, so I had to go to another publisher because it's a playbook. It has pre-season PD looking at data, 4 cycles of planning, instruction, assessment, data action, and continuous learning where you choose from. This book is going pretty good.
okay.
Highly recommended by one of the great superintendents in Connecticut, my wife's best bud, Tyresha. So I wanted to get that out. These two books, I have a chapter in each: Culture Keepers and Culture
This
Champions,
guy don't stop.
led with the great Dr. Muhammad. And then
Okay.
one last one. Well, it's coming out. We just finished it. It's going to production. Transforming School Culture. And we don't know the title, but it's a play off Dr. Muhammad's book. He was actually one of the 4 top educators in the world, and he's a great mentor. And
Where's he from?
he's from Michigan, Detroit, Michigan.
I lost you for a second. Where's Dr. Muhammad from?
Michigan, Detroit, Michigan.
Okay. Okay. And so are all your, do you have like your own website? Or
I
how
just
can we
did.
follow you?
I'll email it to you, but I just got it. They're setting it up now.
Okay, they're setting it up, and this is where we can get all of your stuff.
All the stuff, but this one, I'm telling you, this Brilliance was great. This takes Brilliance and puts it where teachers can just use it.
Okay.
Our teachers, and you know what's crazy? This summer, I'm writing. I actually wrote a blog for Brilliance. Somebody sent Ken Williams said, "Man, you should put that in the book,"
Yep.
and that's what I started doing here. And then, but let me show you one thing. Like, here's the PD. It has all different choices that can help you get better at planning, assessment, and then you have all these resources.
Okay.
Then it has sections on planning. It has how you can give kids more time and support.
Yep.
How to look at priority standards, the research behind what we're doing, creating team norms, all this stuff. It's easy to do. You can do it right in the book.
So every book is someone's own personal like journal or plan.
Everyone can write in this book.
Yep.
So like you come, but the thing of, we talk about 4 cycles in this book. It's so you're constantly monitoring kids and where they are. And then the other piece is instructional phase, and goal setting is in there. So you're always talking about instruction. And then it has a great thing about how to create common assessments with a checklist, and then evaluating your common assessment. Is it reliable and viable? And then is it valid and, reliable? Then the data team gets into data actions. It talks you how to walk through, and everything just for people to do immediately.
So, man, like I said before, it's been a pleasure having you on. You're going to see when this gets posted up, there'll be your website already on it. So people will see the website. We can't see it because we're taping now, but it's on, right, as I speak. But we have been speaking with Mr. Bo Ryan, the principal of Anna Grace Middle School in Bloomfield, Connecticut. Man, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming on.
Hold on, Tyrone.
What you got?
There she is. There she is.
That's the one you were smitten over.
I was smitten. That's an Irish term.
Please tell Keisha I said hello, and thank you for stopping by.
And you know Auntie Kim, right?
Of course I know Auntie Kim. She works in New Britain.
All right.
So that's it. That's a wrap on this episode of the Teach One podcast. But I do have some homework for you. You got to subscribe. You got to like. You got to share with your teaching besties. And then comment on your favorite takeaways. That's your homework. Seriously, thanks for tuning in and being part of this amazing community of educators. Keep inspiring, keep growing, and remember you're teaching one student at a time and making all the difference. So see you on the next episode.